enough light, but nevertheless. I want to thank you this morning for your presence. I have forwarded to the City Commission and to the Tallahassee Firefighters a letter asking to become the chief negotiator. It's very important for you to know that some years ago, Leon County contemplated our own fire department. But maybe 22, 3, 4 years ago, we relinquished the idea, in particular when the city agreed or shared that they would be building a fire department up on Bannerman Road. So with the addition of the Bannerman Road Fire Department, the county recognized that the city would have the tentacles to reach way into the outer reaches of, back then, the unincorporated area. Of course, the Bannerman area and all up there has grown into its own metropolis, but back in those years, it was what we considered rural. Those things being established, that the county has contemplated a fire department, but with the addition of the Bannerman Road Fire Department serving the north side, the county dropped the idea. Instead, what we do now, we have collected $11.4 million from all county residents, and we have retained the services of the city, if you will. But this is, make no mistake about it, a joint venture. This is a consolidated entity of government. And from the $11.4 million that the county takes up, the city receives an additional 39 point some amount of fire services. Who pays it? All residents pay it. All businesses pay it. The state pays it. The universities pay it. Governments pay it, the fire services fee. So what we have is a collective of about $51.4 million in the kitty. So out of $51.4 million, 275 employees are trying to be paid. Now, it occurs to me that out of 275 workers who are fire department workers, and a special tax designated as fire service fee paid by everyone in this community, that equates to a little over $185,000 per year received to support each individual worker. $185,000 collected from the citizens of the unincorporated area and inside the city limits is enough. So we're not talking about money as a factor here to sustain one worker. You will not find many places $185,000 to support one individual worker on a per unit basis, nowhere. But as I come today, I suggest to you my qualifications to serve as negotiator, and that hinges upon the almost 28 years that I've served in every kind of commotion, controversy, public policy matter affecting local governance. I have been at the table. The man that you saw come across here just now was Mr. Lamar Bailey, the man who owned the Falls Chase property, of which the county chose me to be its negotiator for an impasse that lasted 32 years. We could not get Falls Chase going. But the Board of County Commissioners asked me to serve, and for issues far more complicated, more longer entrenched than the firemen, I was asked. And Mr. Bailey, for some reason on this particular day, that owner walked across and was able to move, at that time, what was the largest transfer sale of a piece of property at $69 million. I did that successfully. So I don't come here with pipe dreams. I come here as the most seasoned local official in the history of this county, having voted on more money being spent for more different diverse things than anyone in history. I come fully capable of negotiating sheets of paper with one unit of government called fire workers. Additionally, as a backdrop, I'm wanting you to appreciate that 2 sessions of the legislature have come to Tallahassee. And on this Friday, I believe the session ends. And last year, $115 billion in excess was agreed to by people from all over Florida called legislators. And they came to Tallahassee in a 6-week, 8-week period of the legislative session. And they wrapped up spending $115 billion. This year, in 24, another session has occurred, and another $115 billion have been fussed over, discussed, deliberated, and somebody's going to tie a bow around it, and it may not be a perfect situation, but it's going to be the best that can be scrapped up, and we'll come back and duke it out and fight next year. How in the world that Tallahassee, synonymous with being a place where problem resolution occurs. Tallahassee, a place where agreements are met, deliberated, discussed. Tallahassee is the place in the state of Florida where minds of competence and some of incompetence, but they come together in the hallways of government and they work out deals. Yet, with that backdrop, we have our city government unable to know what to do with $51.4 million and can't work it out, and it's been over a year. How can the entire legislature come from Florida and can wrap it up, go home, and come back a second year and go home, and our firemen have not been taken care of? This is why I offer myself. I've set out today to say to you that, and I put some numbers. Rachel, you make sure share with everyone my statement today. You want to know what will my method of negotiating be. I've tried to say that the county, why is a county commissioner involved? Because we do have a dog in the fight. We got $11.4 million. We have surrendered $83.8 million over the last 10 years. And we love our fire service persons. We know that they protect us. They do the work that nobody else wants to do. They take the calls that I am not going to take. They put their very lives on the line. And when their spouses had to come in front of the city commission asking for better, asking for more, desiring that their loved ones would be respected commensurate to their talents, commensurate to their professionality, and commensurate to the amount of money that the city does receive in the name of fire services. So I'm offering, and I will have a team of negotiators who are competent. Our community is the 12th most educated community in the United States. We have the minds here to come up with an agreement. Now, I am suggesting that, number one, what we will do, I've got a 7-point breakout. If you look at that sheet of paper, page 2. Number one, we're going to explore the previous 3 contracts between the city and firefighters. No agreement ended up perfect. No agreement was just, everything was just right for both sides. That's not true. So I want to see what were the dangling issues over the last 3 contracts. Secondly, I want to look at the proposed contract by both sides. What are both sides proposing? We have to examine both sides. We want to identify, thirdly, the sticking points or the problem areas or language barriers. Mr. Bailey just walked by, and when I tell you there was language barriers on everything from environmental to the height with which that water level line out at Lake Lafayette, areas that were right for commercial, everything we had to duke it out. But we were able to get through it in the summer session of, I don't know what year it was. We're going to separate each issue by issue. I want to distinguish those issues, to separate those issues, and that we're going to weigh and flex out those issues. And we're going to locate agreement on point by point And no matter how fragile those issues might be, when you get agreement, you stake a claim right there and you keep working. This is sort of like, you ever see those 1,000 pieces of a jigsaw puzzle? And when you get 2 pieces, oh, these 2 go together. What else over here? Oh, I got 3 pieces over here. And it's a long way to a jigsaw puzzle. But this is what negotiating often involves. And then if there are any incongruences, we're going to arm wrestle, figuratively speaking, we're going to arm wrestle those incongruences. And then we're going to recognize our differences. We may not get everything that we want, and we'll save some for the next time and down the road. But we're going to celebrate cooperation and agreement, and we've got to declare a final agreement. Now, I want y'all to know that when you're working through things like this, my team and I, we're going to stay in that room. We're going to commit to 10-hour sessions, consecutive sessions. And sometimes you just got to take Alka-Seltzer until you work it out. You get a headache, this is what we're going to do. That's what I do anyway. I take Alka-Seltzer for these kinds of issues. Now, finally, I want to say before I take any of your questions, the city has not given me a green light, but I'm so very pleased that commissioners are here today. Commissioner Matlow is here, and I welcome and invite his comments with respect to the posture of city government if he desires to speak. I'm well pleased also that Commissioner, my colleague from the county, Commissioner, hey Kinfolk, O'Keefe is here, and I welcome him to the dais if there's anything that he desires to say. Now, may I announce town hall meeting, Northeast Tallahassee, March 21st, at the library up on Thomasville Road, the Northeast Library. I'm going to host a meeting with fire leaders and anyone from the community who desires to come out, and it's going to be titled The City and Firefighters Dilemma. Where do we go from here? The City and Firefighters Dilemma. Where do we go from here? I recognize that the City Commission will meet tonight, and hopefully they will take this matter up. But if either Commissioner Matlow or O'Keefe, but Commissioner Matlow, if you desire, you're welcome to come up and say whatever.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. I really just came as a spectator today, but I do want to thank Commissioner Proctor for recognizing that there's an issue. Since October, our firefighters have been the only city department in the city not to receive a pay raise. Every other city employee has received a pay raise. So that's 5 months of being denied the money that they earn that's due to them because we haven't been able to secure a contract. As the longest standing elected representative in Leon County, I think it's important to bring a cool head and experience to the table to get something done, because I think we all want the same things. We want to make sure when we need the fire department that they show up quickly, and we want to make sure the men and women who are working for us are compensated adequately. We don't want to see our firefighters leave and go to other communities. We want to make sure that they're valued and respected right here, and I know if given the opportunity, Commissioner Bill Proctor could help us bring home an agreement that works for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matlow. Thank you so much. I'm hopeful that Commissioner Matlow may mention or lift it up during his moments to speak tonight. I'm hopeful that the City Commission will not allow any basis. You know, I'm thinking about, I think the fireman's motto or creed, I've heard it said, stop, drop, and roll. And I believe that what we need to do is stop disagreeing. We need to drop any hidden agendas, and we need to roll out the dough and pay them exactly the value of their services. And how do you arrive at that value? That value is somewhere between the amount of money that we take in and have on the table from citizens that we remit and relinquish for firemen specifically. We don't have a fee for school bus drivers, We don't have a fee for teachers. We don't take up no taxes to pay the garbage workers, but we do have a fee specifically designated for fire services. Isn't that amazing? So we're $51 million on the table, number one. And secondly, to identify market standards. What do firemen from communities our size with this kind of money, what do they earn? What do area firemen earn in counties which neighbor ours? And whether you go out a radius of 100 miles or 200 miles from Pensacola or back over to Jacksonville, what do they earn? What is the value for those men and women for putting their lives on the line? That's where equity is discovered. Equity is discovered somewhere by identifying a market standard for those professionals and looking at the amount of money, $51 million, that's secured from each resident, each business to serve nobody but the firemen. It breaks my heart that we have not come beyond the impasse, but in our 200-year anniversary and bicentennial year, I have to believe that we can't go another year, ignore, denigrate, disrespect the value, the lives of fire people. I'm not going to idly sit by. So I'm in it. However it goes, if my services are welcome, I certainly offer them. I'm equipped in heart and in mind to do this task. I thank you all for coming. Any questions?
Commissioner Proctor, we've already seen some county city skirmishes lately. The trespassing issue, the blueprint meeting that didn't end terribly well. Are you concerned that having another city-county exchange would exacerbate tensions between the two bodies?
Well, what I recognize is that understanding is something that you grapple for. It just doesn't, it's just not arrived at. And families, couples, children, the legislature, and I think that we cannot be fearful simply because there are a couple of issues that do exist that it denies, inhibits, or keeps us from continuing the work that's needed. I dare not think that the issue of defense issue should keep the firemen from eating, should keep the firemen from being able to protect their families. They protect ours, they protect yours, but in many ways I heard their spouses saying that they're falling short. We shouldn't want for our fire workers to have to moonlight and do other part-time work to make ends. I need them to be strong and ready to go. And when you got to run 2, 3, 4 jobs and a business on the side and all of that, it compromises the caliber and the quality of service that they can provide in our times of need. So this is why I think that we can't be afraid of squabbles. That's what we do. We squabble. That's what commissioners do, squabble. That's what legislators do. That's what Congress do all the time, squabble. So I'm in it for the squabble and whatever it takes. If you're weak of mind and heart, everything don't go smooth. And I'm willing to squabble and squawk and fight and jump up and holler, scream. But in the end, I want the firefighters to be better treated and not to be, as Commissioner Matlow has pointed out, the only city workers who've been without a contract since October. We're better than that. We have better character than that. And I'm asking the city, if they can't reach the finish line, I will. Any other?
Questions. You mentioned earlier about, you guys have vested interest in this because you too, the county, use the fire services. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit if you are concerned about any conflicts of interest, if there are any, and if so, how you plan to mitigate that while going through with this.
Are there any, what was it, homeless issues?
I was saying, you mentioned earlier that since you guys do utilize the fire services as a county, are there any conflicts of interest that you're worried about moving forward as a negotiator, while also being a commissioner, kind of as a government
No, if the city, this is about skill right now. It's not about conflict. It's about who can come to a table and can read a sheet of paper, understand and empathize. Let me tell you what empathy is. Empathy is the capacity for you to take your shoes off and me to wear them, and I can understand in your shoes how you feel. And if we can't place ourselves in the shoes of others, figuratively speaking, then we don't have the ability to empathize. So I bring empathy, heart, a desire to see a finished product here, and I have the ability. This is not outside the scope. I need to also tell you that my background includes problem resolution for U.S. Senator Bob Graham, where I handle housing, taxes, labor, and transportation issues. I need to tell you that I served and worked for Governor Lawton Childs as a special assistant. And the plethora of issues of problem solving across the state from Pensacola to Miami, I have done it all. I'm confident this is a small matter to the vastness of the experience I literally hold. So I'm offering myself, not from the sense of county commissioner trying to take over the thing and blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you I have the skill sets and we'll have a competent team that will solve this matter. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you all. I really sincerely appreciate it. Our town hall meeting is going to be Thursday, the 21st, up at the Northeast Library. And I appreciate if you all would cover. And we're hoping to hear from firemen for them to tell the community, because we're not hearing their side, for asking the community to come out to hear from the firemen, and maybe it takes voters to move this matter, and not just negotiators, but voters. So I'm grateful, and I hope that you all show my good side. Let me show you my good side, and put that on the TV cover, and don't mess me up. All right, thank you guys.